Hi everybody, and welcome to the demo. So I'm going to get started by showing you the workflow for descriptive metadata, the hierarchical metadata, the archival hierarchical metadata. This is coming from the IMCS system. So you can see this collection of files here. These are 4 XML files that are exported from IMCS through their export feature. And these files are input data to a script that I wrote in Python that's showing here on this web page. So this Python script looks in those XML files and takes every collection and all of the subfolders and series and everything inside of it, and it unpacks that data and makes linked data out of it, and then posts that linked data to a linked data repository. So in other words, it's uploading the archival description hierarchy into the linked data platform repository that we're running. So this process produces a tree structure here, this archival hierarchy. This is in the interface, and it's all in the linked data platform behind the scenes. And if I show you, each object in here has some properties associated with it that are coming directly from IMCS. These are still in Rediscovery Software's field labels, but they are linked data and they're ready to be converted to something else more standard like Dublin Core perhaps, or EAD. So it reproduces the entire hierarchy of series and folders and boxes. So you can see that all of that data from IMCS is in here, ready to be used, and united with file data coming from digitization workflows. And that's our next step, is to show the submission workflow. So to begin that, we'll switch over to the submissions area. All right, it's showing one submission that I did earlier. And it's got some stuff in it. I'll show you how I created that. So I'm going to start by hitting the button to create a submission and call it, you can call this whatever you want. It's not going to show up in user interfaces other than this one. This is sort of the name of the submission for a bunch of digital files. So I'm calling it Series 19, Box 1, Folder 1. All right, now it's created. I'm going to select it, and on the right there's some details. We can see the status of this submission is that it's being prepared. Then there's a series of steps showing the steps in the workflow that are sort of the standard workflow for creating a submission, 1 through 10. So let me begin. I'm going to drag and drop some files into this submission package. So I'll get my files. They are over here. I'm just going to begin with document 1 in this folder and grab some of these files and drop them into the box. Now when I dropped them in, they went ahead and uploaded into the linked data repository. So they are now safe. They've been added to the repository. They have had digests calculated for them. I'm going to refresh the page just a moment. Right, okay, so we're looking at what resulted from dropping 5 files into the submission folder. These are TIFF files. They follow a strict naming convention. from the National Archives for Black Women's History that's defining the identifier, more or less, for this page within a document. So we have page 001 through page 005.tif. When these were uploaded to the repository, to the DAMs went ahead and calculated a checksum. And that is an MD5 checksum. I think it also calculated a SHA-256, but it's not used right in this interface. And I came up with this little icon on the right to show the fixity status. So that's indicating that in the right angle bracket there, or what is it, a bracket, is dark, and that means that it's got a normal fixity. The left angle bracket is for any supplied fixity coming from the user that should predate the upload. And then there's a little equal sign in between the two that indicates whether they match or not. So all these situations are possible. You could have no supplied fixity, as in this case, or you could have a supplied fixity that does match or that doesn't match. And this little icon should show you that. You also see here that it went ahead and generated access copies of this TIFF file. So there's a access.png file, and I can show you that. So here it is embedded in this interface just as a HTML image, but we can also look at it direct out of the DAMs and see that it's full size. You know, it's even shrunk down here, so you can see this is a full-size access copy. And then there's a thumbnail as well for search interfaces and things like that you might need a thumbnail for. Both of those were generated as soon as we get a new TIFF file. And the next step, let's go back to our submission package. The next step after uploading files is to upload a MD5 manifest. So in the digitization workflow the National Archives of Black Women's History is using, there is an Excel file that contains MD5 checksums. And so we've taught our repository to read those files. And all I'm going to do is grab that Excel file and drop it also into the submission package. So that will upload. You can see it's showed up right there. Now it's part of the submission package. But there's a process running on the server side that's looking at that file and opening it up, reading the Excel data and making link data out of that, which will then be used to annotate these TIFF files. So these TIFF files would be updated to include the user-supplied digest. So I think that's probably already happened by now. It happens behind the scenes. I've got a little bit of a UI update issue, so I'm going to refresh the web page to get it to show the results. Here we go. Okay. So now my little homegrown icon is showing that the left side is filled in with without red, and now the equal sign is there. So this file has a valid fixity. The MD5 supplied by, in this case, History and Associates, matches the generated MD5 sum by the system when it arrived after upload. So the next step, let's go back to our submission package. And the next step is review fixity status of uploaded files. So we have no red, we have no issues with uploaded files. The next step is to upload some Dublin Core metadata. Okay, let's do that. Let's see, I think that's, no. There's my metadata folder. So I've got another Excel file. This is also from History and Associates. I believe it's part of their digitization workflow to create this item level Dublin Core file. And it's once again in Excel, so we have to take all the columns from Excel and translate those into Dublin Core. So now I've uploaded it, and there it is. We can get it back out of the repository, of course, everything's saved. But there's a process in the repository that woke up when it saw the inventory.xlsx file and opened it up and extracted all the contents into, in this case, a linked data file in turtle format. So linked data is pretty ugly looking. I will quickly show it to you. Here's all the linked data that it got out of that Excel file. Lots of text, and it's not particularly pretty, but it's a good standard nonetheless. So this data can then be indexed, and that linked data is united, therefore, with the physical or digital files that we're using to view this document. So the document metadata will be included in a triple store. It will be indexed by whatever search engine we want to use, and then presented in display form for users to use. So that's there. Returning to our submission package again, let's see what the next step is. So we've uploaded our Dublin Core metadata, that Excel file. So we're now in step 6. And step 6 asks, do you expect to create one document with 5 pages in total? Okay. Well, looking at this set of files, that's what I would expect. And it's, of course, making this guess based on the file name convention that is used. So it's looking at all the files in there and saying, hey, I think you've got one document with 5 pages. Is that right? And looks right to me. So and we're going to, at least for this test case, I'm going to call it right. I know it's not actually right for this data. But I'm going to call this make documents task, and that will make document structures. So we want to not only have the page files, but we want to have a linked data structure or a content model that unites all of these pages into one book-like object or paged object, and that's what this button will do. So I clicked on make documents, and now up here at the top you can see there's a new thing. Looks like a stack of papers to me. I try to use the best icons I can, but if we look at this, we can see that this is our document. This is document 01, as inferred from these file names. It's collected all the pages and put them together in a linked data structure that says here's the next page, here's the first page, here's the last page, and with that data you can make and use, or you can reuse, sort of document viewers, page viewers, the type that flip from one page to the next and show you things. That would be a pretty standard interface to create from this. So I'm just going to show you on the right that we have a bunch of thumbnails showing for our 5 pages. Those are just to prove to you that I did that. And there's the linking linked data that does create that structure. I don't want to show you the linked data. It's pretty long and pretty ugly, but the linked data here is using a standard content model called Portland Core Data Model, PCDM, which reuses a couple other well-known standards and is a pretty standard way of packaging this stuff. So that's it for our demo portion. I'm going to leave this showing at the end of the video in case people want to refer back to it from the ongoing discussion. All right, thanks a lot.